Tonight, we have an investor story which is all about how to build a property portfolio to $8 million. It's actually 8.7 now that we actually ran the numbers. We have the amazing Cheena Zoega, who is a buyer's agent at Property Principles Buyers Agency, which we are very lucky to have her on board, but she is absolutely crushing it in life. Now, she didn't start out that way. The beginning of the portfolio was a rough start, and it's kind of a lesson to everybody out there to say, like, it's okay. Don't deliberately mess it up, but take action is what's going to solve a lot of your problems. But there's a whole heap of wisdom throughout there. She is also an author of an amazing book that we discuss, and it's incredible. This session is one you're going to want to save and keep coming back to because there's so much wisdom there. Hey everyone, my name's Joe Tucker, and together with Jeff Myers, we created Oz Property Investor. Each week, this is all we do. We interview top property experts. We unpack their lessons, their wisdoms, their learnings, so that you can go out there, be a fly on the wall, listen to these things, and then go take action for yourself to build yourself an $8.7 million portfolio, whatever you want to do. This week is no different. Cheena has absolutely crushed it in life, and she only started from 2019. She didn't have a silver spoon in her mouth, and she's a migrant to Australia. What? And she's able to do this. How? Well, let's find out.
And we are live on Oz Property Investors. We bring the big names and we have the big fun. And Cheena, we've got a huge property investing sort of couple migrant, or you throw all the things together. It's an $8 million plus $8+ million. I don't know. I feel like I'm not saying it right. The huge portfolio. We're going to be revealing some of the challenges because it hasn't all been a bed of roses. Like anybody who's built that portfolio knows there's things that come along the way. So stay tuned for that. We will have a bit of a giveaway as well. Now, I don't know who's paying for that giveaway, but we'll deal with the finer details after the fact. So it is exciting. We're on the cusp of summer. Huge things happening. How are you going, Cheena? What's happening?
Well, just sweating bullets, like Joe said. It's very hot in Sydney today, but I am here. I'm super pumped to be here, actually. Long-time lurker of the Facebook group, but first time, having an actual appearance. So thanks, guys, for having me today.
You're welcome. If you're Tangerine, anonymous Tangerine or Expeditious is now, so lurkers galore. I'm just getting called out for that.
The nickname thing on the new Facebook. Yeah, by the way, anyone that is hiding under a pseudonym, don't get too spicy, because if you just click the person's nickname, you will see their full name. So please,
it's only you and I can see that, Joe. So it's
okay. Well, then we're naming and shaming everyone. No nicknames, please.
But no, it's not about that. Joe, how are you going? What's happening,
mate? I'm good. I'm very good. I'm starting to heal. I now have my bones. They've all been surgeried. I'm starting to heal, which is fantastic. I'm pumped to get Cheena on. The funny thing is this one part, the reason we wanted to get Cheena on is she's built an incredible portfolio, but she's now recently transitioned to become a buyer's agent. So she is hunting deals left, right, and center. And our business, Property Principles, is lucky enough to get her on to help our clients find amazing deals. And literally, we were just chatting about a deal just before we went live. So it's awesome that you've been able to transition to buyer's agency from crushing it so much in your portfolio as well. I see a lot of people transitioning to buyer's agencies, and they're like, cool, I haven't bought one property for myself, let alone the amount that you've got. But this is a pure investor story. That's what I want this one to be, because it's not been easy, and the process to be able to get here, as Jeff said, the kind of migrant story, but it's not really. It's someone just hustling with their partner together, going hard and making it happen, and lots of challenges along the way. But how are you, Jeff, actually? How are you, mate?
Good. Looking forward to a bit of a break. A bit Christmas. A bit of Christmas, but it's been busy, which is fun, but busy and exciting, making dreams happen, including it's just fun to be, I suppose, at the helm of the Oz Property co thing. But no, excited to talk about the deals, because for me, I think there's an interesting we're at a bit of a crossroads somewhat with investing. There's a lot of moving parts happening in the investing space, and it's just it would be good to unpack some of those what calmer heads, cooler heads prevail, because there's a lot of changes happening. There's a lot of prices escalating, and a lot of people sort of disgruntled somewhat. So there's that mixed emotions in the Australian property market at the moment, I feel. So we'll, I think it's just one of the more interesting times I've seen apart from COVID kicking off. But Cheena, this is about you tonight. You bring a wealth of knowledge, and you've done through the years of all things property, from renovations, rooming houses to Airbnb. We'll unpack a lot of that, because I think that's integral in you building the portfolio. You've got that portfolio worth $8.5 million, and you understand what makes that strong investor along the journey, along the way. You are a critically acclaimed author of Money Talks, 10 Things You Wish Your Parents Taught You About Finances. So I'm excited about that. I'm going to be there. So stay tuned, people, because that's going to be, even if you're watching the replay, let me know. Send me a DM. I normally don't love people sending me DMs, but that's okay. You can if you want to now for this particular purpose. So stay tuned for that. You are also a coffee addict, a shoe addict, a traveler, and a finance money enthusiast. The extraordinary Cheena, you are. Here's the Money Talks.
There it is. Take it.
Here it is.
Buy it for a friend. Sorry. What is the book? What's the book? Because this is cool. This is really cool. You've written actually. Oh no, a couple of people have written books. I mean, Steve Police has written a bloody book, so that doesn't, it doesn't give it too much. But
he's written a few. Absolutely, yeah.
What's the key? What's the message? What's this thing about?
Joe, the giveaway is actually in the title. It's literally 10 things I wish my parents told me about finances. I think I'll be like many people on the call who probably didn't really grow up with talking about finances or investing on the dinner table, certainly not at school. So a lot of the things I have learned, well, actually 100% of the things I've learned are just through my own mistakes, which is, not ideal. So that was the idea behind this book. So 10 things that I wish my parents told me about finances, because I feel like if I knew those things today, well, when I was a lot younger, I would be a lot further ahead.
Yeah, but I think, that's just insane that you think you'd be a lot further ahead, and you've got an $8.5 million portfolio. So that's insane. Yeah, I think you need to probably give yourself a little bit of kudos to that. But before we go and ask the first question, I want to, because we've got this thing we're going to do at the start of the show. This is general information, not taking into account your personal needs, objectives. So go and speak to your financial advisor, broker. This is not financial advice, and we're not responsible for any loss or potentially gain. Maybe we'll take the gain, but anyway. So Cheena, what is it? You mentioned that you didn't talk much about the finances growing up, or you didn't talk about those lessons. How did you get passionate or interested in property, finances, money?
Wow, that's such a big question. I think I've always sort of had a bit of inkling, more of a FOMO aspect, I think. So I went to high school with a guy who invested in shares, and I thought, oh my God, you can invest in shares when you're only 17. What is that about? So I think once I left school, once I had a job, of course, I was a very, very poor student. I think I might have invested, $100 or $200, very, very minimal, just to, just to say that I did. But didn't really know what I was doing. And in terms of property, I think for those of you who want to read my book, can read all about how terrible my first experience was with property. I think everything that you're not supposed to do with a property purchase, I did. The only thing I did right was having a pre-approval, but everything else, didn't have a proper loan in place, didn't really inspect the property, didn't do building impacts, didn't have a lawyer in place, didn't have a deposit ready. So yeah, it was bad, really, really bad. But however, having said that, that really did obviously meant I had a bit of an inkling about property and investing. But really, it wasn't until probably a few years ago that I really got into it, and I really something just really resonated with me.
Yeah. But what did you actually, what did you say? So tell me about, shares in New Zealand at 17, where did you go from there in terms of learning about, and you came to Australia in 2014 as well. So you came, Migrant to Australia, And I sort of see there's a lot of difference between New Zealand property versus Australian property. Like it might seem similar, but I think the dynamics are supply and demand is probably a little bit different there. So when you came to Australia, what were the first sort of 3 to 6 years look like? Because you didn't buy your first investment property till 2019. So what did that first 6 years in Australia look like?
Yes, it was very much about living in the moment. I think it's lots of avocado on toast and cocktails during the week. So I probably didn't really know what I was doing. I did venture into my PPOR early on, but really I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. And it was, like you said, only until 2019 was when like, hold on a second, maybe there's something in this property business. So really, I just did my toe in things, but without really understanding anything. And certainly there wasn't really that forward thinking or even proper goal setting really for anything for the longest time.
Yeah, and we'll sort of, as your journey went on, you did become a bit more strategic. So we'll talk about that. I think it's important. I mean, but I suppose we all like
got to inspect.
Our first, I mean, but having said that, like I bought my first sight unseen. Like I did get an inspection done, but it's just interesting you sort of say that because there's so many different ways you can not do something and so many reasons to not buy a property. It's no guarantee, but And then where did you go from, okay, you bought the first and then, okay, what was the why behind it? Why did you want to invest in property or anything for that matter?
I think the very first purchase was probably about a year or two after I moved to Australia. And it was just because everybody in Australia love property. Everybody talks about it. And once again, I felt like I was missing out. So I just ended up buying, actually a friend of mine bid on my behalf in an auction while I was on holiday, because I think without her help, I don't think I would ever have bought anything. And from there, I ended up relocating to Sydney not long after. And I thought, hold on a second. There was really that strategic mindset at that stage. So, we need somewhere to live rather than rent, because that's a goal, right? For everybody, let's just buy a PBOR. So at that point, that original PBOR got turned into a investment, and that's really what sparked the journey in 2019 to where we are today.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. And I guess that's a big thing for a lot of people as well, is like sometimes their PPR might not actually make a good investment property. I see people buying these like high-rise, units, and they're awesome to live in. They've got pools and all of that, and then it might not actually be the best asset. Did you actually?
My first was terrible. Yeah, it was terrible. That's why.
Okay.
So that's the only one we have offloaded because the form performed terribly. It looked nice, it looked shiny, it was new, and from a capital growth perspective, it was probably the worst performer in our portfolio. And we parted ways with it a couple of years ago now to free up the money to do something else.
Yeah, that's a great way to think about it as well. Like that's the whole, like a lot of people are now having that conversation around selling. Borrowing capacities are a little bit tighter. They have these assets that may not actually be performing very well, or they've kind of outperformed and they don't see that performance coming anytime soon. And it really comes down to an allocation of capital and just saying, okay, well, if I sell it, how much money will I open up from a borrowing capacity and a cash flow capacity and a capital capacity? And can I then buy another property? And if the answer is yes, well, do I think I can do better, however many years in advance? And the answer might be yes. Then, it might be worthwhile selling it. But if you don't do those numbers, that's where a lot of people get stuck. They're like, oh, I mean, we have ChatGPT. You can get a lot of help with this kind of stuff. Did you have any kind of books or resources or favorite podcasts or Facebook groups, Oz Property Investors? But like, are there any?
Such a plug right there.
No, I mean, if you're on here, you're probably a pretty big fan already. But no, were there any kind of good books that you're like, oh my gosh, this was a gateway drug?
I think there was actually quite a few. I think the first book that pretty started things was the Steve McKnight book.
Oh yeah.
I also read the Lloyd Edge book.
Oh, interesting.
And yeah, but really, I think we just consume a lot of content because, it was really around COVID that we spent so much time educating ourselves. And I think listening to podcasts and videos was a really great way. Definitely was Prop Investors Group because there's so many seasoned investors in here, and even some novices asking questions. And I think it's kudos to you guys have done a fantastic job in managing the community because there's some fantastic experts in here that I've been able to learn from. Like I said, long-time lurker, so I was able to get a lot of knowledge.
Yeah, it's just and the other thing I love is I feel like out of our group, maybe we're not responsible, maybe people would have done this without this, but there's been various meetups sort of come from it. And meetups were already a thing anyway, but I would encourage you to get, if you have the time and inclination, if you really want to accelerate, there's so many different people out there and different. We run one maybe once a year or what it is, but there's probably a meetup happening in your city, whether that be property chat, whether it's Australian real estate meetups. And those sort of things are where you start to really have the candid conversations, because and that way the guard's down, you might be having a beverage or you might have a soft drink, whatever you're having. But those, I would encourage you to get out amongst it. But we sort of lost maybe a little bit of that. But what are the critical things? Because you probably speak about this a little bit in your book that you wish you knew at the start that you know now. What are those sort of gotchas that sort of held you back and you wish you would have known earlier?
Unfortunately, it was a case of you don't know what you don't know, and I just didn't really know anything. And I think if I was to give myself that 18-year advice, I wish I had someone to guide me through that process, like a mentor or just some basic financial literacy that I have now. And I think if I was to think how I can have scaled everything faster, just really that mentor, surround yourself with the right people. I think my partner and I often talk about this, the importance of team. First one, you have to start with yourself. You have to educate yourself. There's so much free information out there. You're doing yourself injustice if you don't read, if you don't listen, if you don't watch the videos. It's really on you. And I think another one is around your partner. I think we're going to talk about this in later, but really you spend so much time with your life partner. If you're not working together, you're really working against each other. And certainly for myself, my partner, Alan, and myself, we have very different personalities, different risk profiles, different everything, but we're able to, bring that strength to property investing. We divide and conquer. So that way we can actually build, things much faster. Where we have agreed that if one person says no, then it's a no deal. If both of us have to agree to even take them to the next step. And I think another one is around people that you surround yourself with. You're the average of 5 people that are closest to you. And I think I say this very often, but it's absolutely true. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Jeff, we just talked about, the property meetups. There's a reason why, when you immerse yourself into that world, you get so motivated, so enthusiastic. And I think it's amazing. And of course, the last one is around the team of experts. You can't do everything yourself. People specialize for a reason. If you don't have the skill set or the time, use a BA. Get a great accountant, get a great broker. Use their experience and expertise to really guide you, and that's really going to accelerate your journey. And I think those are the things that I wish that I had from the beginning.
Yeah. What are those foundational, you said there's some critical things that you need to understand, that the basic financial sort of knowledge. What are those things that people need to be ticking off? Because I think that those are things that don't really get talked about in school. So what are those things for you, Cheena? Or Cheena, sorry.
That's all right. I think it's just really understanding the foundations. I think, starting with your goals. One of the biggest things for me is around, financial freedom. But what does that even mean for you. You know, it means different things for everyone. And I think really starting with what that means, and then some of the basic things like, you know, what is insurances? What is
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, there was
What did that
was
say?
a comment that was very
That was me.
distracting.
Scott Lockie said 100% on the partner advice. You're done without being on the same page.
Yeah.
I've got my own views on that, but I'll leave my views to one side because to me it's kind of
Yeah.
about yes, there has to be alignment, but it's kind of usually one person leading the way. But having the insurances, as you say, insurances and understanding financial freedom, and what are the other things that sort of stem from that as well, Jenna?
It's literally just, I think, so having a basic understanding of even how taxes work, having an understanding of the fact that if you're a standard PAYG worker, you are basically leasing your time for money. So what happens if you don't have that income? You know, what are you doing? How are you actually going to support yourself, your family, or whatever, you know, whatever it may be? And, you know, think about estate planning, for example. So all of those almost in my books, foundational things is going to help you to, you know, to navigate some of those, your financial journey.
What about you, Jeff? What are some of the core fundamental ones from that kind of spring to mind for you that change things?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's an interesting way you look at that, because the way I think about it is I realize that going on holiday, it's well, how am I paying those bills? So it's effectively, where is income coming from, and where am I generating my sort of coin from, as in, and how am I setting myself financially free? Because there's a couple of ways. Like, if you don't figure out how to sort of make income while you sleep, then you'll work till you die, kind of thing. That's sort of, I know that's a bit morbid, but so it's really sort of understanding, well, okay, look, and I suppose the fundamental thing is that compound interest. Like, sort of when you buy the first property, you realize that, okay, it happens slowly. And for those who bought in, like, let's just say Brisbane in 2015, you and I, Joe, or you were around that time too, we bought up there and we were like, oh crap. I mean, for me, it did absolutely nothing for years. And just then sort of though realizing, once you start to see that growth, the momentum, and the snowball. So that's probably the biggest one for me, understanding that. And then how to sort of continue to leverage that sort of financial literacy is not really out there. And just thinking about the flexibility in your lifestyle, because it is very possible. Even, and one of my questions for Cheena was going to be, well, how would you do it today, or how can somebody do it today? But yeah, what about you, Joe? What are you thinking?
Well, no, I think leverage is the biggest light bulb for me was the leverage aspect, where you're literally taking, let's just say $100,000, and you're buying an asset. Like, 3 years ago, we were looking at places, bought a property for $500,000. So about $100,000 all in. That property is now worth $900,000. That person could sell that and pocket 500. No, okay, I'm now messing my math up. They can pocket $300,000 of cash after everything, and it's like, well, in 3 years, you've 300%ed the money that you put in by using leverage. Don't quote those numbers. Definitely do not quote those numbers. But it's crazy that you can fundamentally change your life. But what are you going to do otherwise? Okay, let's just say, like, okay, what happens if you have a motorcycle accident and your insurance doesn't cover you, and you have a fractured shoulder and hip, and you work as a carpenter? Me having this accident has been absolutely fine, because I've set myself up in a way that's absolutely fine. But the guy next to me did not set himself up fine in the hospital bed. He had these very similar, he had a much worse accident. He broke all four limbs, and he was stressing the entire time. And it's crazy. He never set himself up. I don't know. It just makes you think, why are you not, like, how are you spending every single dollar that you earn? What is your 30-year-old, 40-year-old, 50-year-old, 60-year-old self going to do? Getting a bit.
Can I be a little bit controversial, perhaps? And Cheena will. I'd love to hear your input on this as well, because it's great that we've invested in property and all that stuff. But it's actually just super. It's like, if I look at my family budget, if like it literally was spending like close to $100,000 a year on that sort of, so a lot of money. And yes, you could argue some of that is choice, but some of that's including the mortgage as well on the owner occupier. So, but you just think,
like a lifestyle, you mean?
Yeah, or just the money. Like if you're spending that, you're almost effectively spending one person's salary at least. So yeah, the cost of and expenses. So it's just What are your thoughts on that, Cheena, in terms of actually the cost of things these days, and actually particularly if you've got a family, like the expenses. Like how do you overcome or think about that, Cheena?
What a fantastic question. I think it's tough. I think it's tough for so many people out there. Not everybody has the means to be able to support themselves, unfortunately. Actually, that's one of the biggest things that really resonated with me was women over the age of 55 is the biggest demographic that is seeking services for homelessness. And I think that's a serious problem. And I think that's why I am such a big fan of financial literacy, because, fundamentally it is spend less than what you earn, and whatever you have to spare, invest that money. And I think I don't have a great answer, because I think it is really tough for some people. I think I listened to this thing a wee while ago. They said, if you give a rich person $100, then they're going to invest. But if you give a poor person $100, then they're going to spend it. It's like, well, yeah, they need that money to support their family. It's a completely different conversation. So I think but the thing is, the more we can arm ourselves with information, and the more educated we can become, the more confident some of our financial decisions can be. So you're not, for example, getting scammed through various bits and pieces, because you have that that basic level of understanding, so you can actually make potentially better decisions.
And
it's
we're
like
going to talk about property as well. Don't get me wrong.
I do want to jump into property, but that's you talk about being scammed, but it's also not even falling for scams. Like my auntie, very not financially literate. I'm like, oh, how's everything going? Like, she's getting old now. I'm like worried about finance. I'm like, oh, she's like, oh yeah, I needed to pay for this, thing. So I got a $10,000 loan from X bank. And I'm like, okay, unnecessary, because you've got the cash. No, it was a great deal. And I'm like, where is it at? She's like, oh, it's at 13%. And I was like, that's criminal.
Wow.
What are they charging you, 13%? And then, anyway, but it's like that $10,000, she didn't need, like, just pay it off. I'm like, we'll sort it out. We'll pay it off and it'll be good. But like that 13% is such, like, that's credit card money. And that's 10,000, like that's $1,300 every single year. And then they have the minimum repayments as well. So they constantly hit you and hit you and hit you. And it's like, oh, you'll pay this off in 15 years. It's crazy. And then you've paid $30,000, $40,000 for a $10,000 loan. But if you don't know that, I guess that's kind of where you get stuck. All the numbers are a bit too big. But I've really enjoyed this chat, actually. So I'm not more interested in about the portfolio. Being a kid of a wealthy
I wanted to bring this up because it's the
are there any people here that are kids of wealthy boomers?
Yeah, being a kid of a wealthy
I
boomer
wish.
is very important. Yeah. And I think that I mean, the way I think about that is whether there's I suppose money coming from a family influence or not, you actually have the opportunity and to either spend that or to just go on around the world trip. So I think can we talk about how getting started from Cheena from the beginning? Okay. How you started. So you started with a property in a high-rise apartment, which that was your PPR,
right?
Yep. And then,
so it was a townhouse as a PPOR in Melbourne back in 2016.
Yep.
But that was it was just wasn't great, but was new, and I lived in it for a short period of time before moving out.
Yep.
Nice.
And that's fine. I was talking to somebody today that was talking about a dual key, and I said, look, although we're not a huge fan of those new builds, it actually, if it serves a purpose, like where are you going with that sort of journey? So I'm sure it would serve some purpose at the time. And then you relocated to Sydney, you bought a property up here as well, that then you were living in, I believe. And then tell us about something clicked and you said, okay, great, I'm going to start this investing thing. Well, how did that sort of go? So the first real investment property you bought, how did that sort of go?
Yeah, so I think the people are I'm counting. I think there was definitely something, I think, in the water, and made us when we're looking at in terms of location. Like, okay, the metro line is going to be up and running, so this is where I have purchased along the metro line in Sydney, and obviously that is always a bit of a bonus, and from a infrastructure perspective. And but we didn't move in here. We actually moved in here 2 weeks prior to COVID starting, which was lucky because we're renting in a high-rise apartment, which you couldn't actually leave the
Oh, wow.
apartment at all. So we're lucky to actually have a bit of space here. And I think not too long after, I was actually made semi-redundant actually, and I think that was like my holy shit moment. What This is really where I was thinking about leasing your time for money. If you don't work, you don't have an income. So I think that was a really bit of a trigger point going,
Yeah, it'd be so hard to get a
think
job during COVID. That would have been crazy time.
yeah, so I did stay on actually, but I just reduced hours. I was able to take advantage of the job seeker job, whatever
Keeper or
one
whatever it
it
was.
was,
Yeah.
Yeah,
job
one of those.
keeper. I think that was the one. Yeah, but really that was a moment. So as soon as the same company made me full time, we just said let's go, because we had a lot of time on our hands from COVID. I think while everyone else was watching, movies or making sourdough, and we were really just yeah, educating ourselves. We were very lucky actually that my husband and I seem to have a common interest in property. So I had one, in New Zealand, that disastrous first experience. And Alan, so he's from Denmark. He also had, dabbled in property there as well. Some very interesting stories that involves guns and vodkas and whatever else, but I'm sure we
Yeah,
can leave
sounds
that
like
for
a
another
Russian
day.
property story, not a
Yeah.
not a Danish property story. Gee, Queen Mary's from is now in Denmark, so yeah.
Queen Mary will sort them out, but Alan loves to say how Denmark got Queen Mary and Australia got him, so fair exchange, of course.
She's
Yeah.
from Tasmania. Yeah, anyway, we won't go. There's from Tassie. But,
So, yeah, downgrade that. Yeah.
Yeah, so we just really got into it. We started really immersing ourselves in education with what do we do? Let's get going. And we purchased a property in Sydney, not too far from the CBD, for sub 850, which is
Yep.
within 10 kilometers from memory. Oh, my geography
Was
is
it a
actually
house
terrible.
or a townhouse or a?
Yeah, it's a sort of like a duplex, but it's actually classified as a house if you're looking at real
Oh,
estate.
yeah.
So that was our first renovation. Well, let me rephrase. It was my first proper renovation experience. Alan, in his amazing hindsight, said, "Yeah, no problems. We can get this renovated, within a few days, a week." So we really got our hands dirty, we're in there painting. So 4 or 5 months later, we got the
Wow.
place rented out. So yeah, that was my first dabble into renovations. Luckily, learned a lot from that experience that we can, apply for to other properties.
Yeah,
So
what were the big
that
what were
was
the
our
big
first.
lessons? What were the big lessons there? Because I feel like this is one of those topics like renovation is everyone loves it and they don't
Yeah.
factor and like we deal with a lot of people that are tradies as well. Like I had a neighbor who was a tradie and he went to the Central. I live in Cronulla, so the Sydney, and the next door neighbor bought a property. It took him like 8 to 12 months. Like he stopped talking to me. He was so excited to tell me about the property when he bought it. And I'm like, how's it going? 3 months later, 6 months later, and 12 months. Like he just ignored me then. And it's like, you don't factor in, like you have to, when you've got a renovation, you've got to think every single day is $100. Well, it's probably more now. It's probably $150. But yeah, every single day is costing you that money. But what were some of the learnings, the takeaways? Because that is 5 months of not getting rent and not only not getting rent, paying a mortgage.
Yeah, it was painful because we also spend a lot, like all of our weekends there as well. So it's
Yeah.
also lost, enjoyment time, I guess. Key learnings, I think, be aware of anything that happens around Christmas time because tradespeople do go on holiday, and you will not be able to get an answer. I think looking back, I would have loved to have a builder in there straight away and got quotes done straight away and just making sure everything's a lot more streamlined. I think that was a lot of valuable time that we did lose because of it.
You have to micromanage. Like as much as like if literally day in day, I'm calling you today. How are we going with that? Like let's line this up. Let's get it done. If that's not getting done, when is it going to get done? Who's going to do it? What do you need? Do you need access? Do you need a bacon egg roll in the morning? Obviously with COVID, maybe it was a bit challenging, but yeah, you literally, if you're not managing it, it's probably not getting done. If somebody's not managing it, if you're not managing your manager, you got to absolutely do that because that's one thing even like whether it's in finances, whether it's in renovations, whether it's in like whichever task of the property investing part, you have to make sure you are the driver. You're driving that situation. You're not doing that. But yeah, no, I absolutely agree, Cheena.
Very true.
I've run for that as well. You just think you need. I've sort of been a bit stand backish and just said, but yeah, where did you go?
You're a professional. You go do what you need to do. But the other thing to mention as well is in contracts, you can negotiate early access for tradespeople to go through, right? So if you're buying a bit of a dump and people don't actually live there, then they don't care if you want to go there and get someone to go through and like someone has to go there to quote you up the plumbing and then quote you up the painting and then quote you up the blinds, and then they have to go away, create the thing, like create the blinds, I guess. But you can actually negotiate that. So just remember, you're an individual buying a property from an individual. Everything is on the table for negotiation. You want a longer settlement, but you have to do all of that stuff up front rather than, so it needs a bit of foresight, a bit of future planning, because that would have saved you if you could have, it would have kicked you up the arse to say, hey, we need to get these quotes in. We need to get someone out there so we can do it because we only have this 2-3 week unconditional to settlement window. And that might have saved a good few hours, but you're also doing a lot yourself. So yeah.
Let's be kind though. I think you've done amazing, Cheena. I don't want to. Yeah, I
think this is good. I think it's good because it's like these little things. It's adding value for the audience, but it is making you maybe not feel so good, Cheena. You've crushed it. You can cry into your $8 million property portfolio. How about that?
8.5. But yeah, so tell us about. So where did you go? You renovated that, and well done. You got there. Where did you go from? How did you then decide? Okay, what's next? Was it okay, let's talk finances, or is it okay? Great. How did you actually go to the next or get to the next property on your path?
Yeah, so lots of Googling in terms of infrastructure and just trying to identify the hotspots, just looking at the data really. And next we went to Brisbane. We went in basically just prior to the crazy boom that happened.
Still going. It is still going.
Still going,
like
absolutely.
20% the last 12 months. It's that's including the Gold Coast. Yeah, it's going hard.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, which is fantastic. So that one we bought sight unseen because was COVID and we couldn't see anything. It was our first venture into rooming house as well. So it is
wow, that's a big jump.
University.
That's such a big jump.
Absolutely.
Like, how did you do that? How did you go from, okay, you bought your PPOR, you then bought a normal renovation, and then rooming house, right? Like that's, how did you do that?
Yeah, so it is really, we love throwing ourselves in the deep end, I think. Sometimes just taking on a challenge that we don't quite know how to tackle, but we always figure it out. So that one, it was a great property in terms of location, and also just at the right price point. And we thought, oh, hold on a second, it's also a rooming house. What do we know about rooming house? Not a lot. So let's go. Let's get educated. Reading about zoning, reading about fire inspections, insurances. Everything is completely different. And of course, it was our first purchase interstate as well. So. Yeah, it was a big jump for sure. But it's doing
What was
Well-
the
Yeah,
what was the
draw card.
driver behind, like, I wasn't thinking, I mean, maybe this is a different time, like 2016, I wasn't thinking, oh, great, I got one in there and it's just doing a thing. I'm not going to go and do a rooming house. Like, how did you then decide to think that? I did a reno, my second one, but yeah.
And how many rooming houses, bugger all rooming houses come to the market? Like what, like bugger all. What happened?
Yeah. COVID happened, I think. I don't know. It's I think it was just at the
So
Right-
did the rooming
right
house
time.
come up first and you were like, yeah, let's do it, and then got educated? Or did you start hunting, what was first, the chicken or the egg?
we just started hunting and this came up and we thought, oh, rooming house. Okay.
Interesting. Bronson's asked, he said, how many rooms, floors, rooming house? It was a single story, double story. What do I mean, maybe it's a little,
Single story,
Yeah.
5 rooms.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or-
Yeah.
I was
I love them in
telling-
Bris Vegas.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah. We have to chat about Townsville, Joe.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. I just give you an update, actually, now that we're talking about rooming houses, because I think we need to do a bit of an episode on this. We now have the building application approval for our rooming house on our Townsville deal. Like this
Hey,
is
why doesn't it start a building now, Joe? Why should this? We started this back in
well,
August. or September.
there's still some more paperwork shuffling. But like this is the crazy thing about. I was thinking about this just today. We bought that property for $435,000. We bought a 700 or 800 square meter block. We bought it for $435,000. We subdivided off the back lot. I think we paid like 30 or 40 grand to do that. We then are putting a $600,000 rooming house to be built. And then, so let's just say $700,000 all in. Let's talk about the front house. That front house is now worth $530,000 on its small little
Wow.
baby block because the market shot up. And now that rooming house, when complete, will be worth around $1 to $1.1 million. And all we've put into this deal is $100,000 for the deposit, and then $250,000 worth of equity from the remainder of the Oz property portfolio to build. So we've literally put in $100,000 to now own an asset that's got equity in it of what? What's that? $500,000? What? In 14 months?
I don't think you're selling it for 1.1. But anyway, let's not.
No,
not split
well, 1 to 1.1, somewhere in
that.
between.
I mean,
But
if
let's
you can't,
say 1.
you can't sell
Okay,
it, yeah, I mean,
our $500,000, $500,000 windfall is, sorry to say, $400,000 windfall. But it's just like, that's bananas. It's absolutely bananas. It'd be $750 a week in rent, if not 2. So, okay, let's talk to the realities now, Cheena. So we're now invested in this whole rooming house thing, but one of the things is, you know, do you have to, where's the ugly? Because we actually had on the, mine's blank for her name, unfortunately, sorry.
Michael Lynn.
Linda Stanley last week.
Who?
Oh.
Who are you talking about? Who do we have on?
Yeah. You said the right name.
Okay.
I missed it.
Belinda.
But we had her on, and the reality of the rooming house is not as cool and great as it is. How do you find that? Did you convert it to a normal dwelling? Are you keeping it as a rooming house? Are you like, holy dooly, rooming houses are the business? Like, what? Give us the run through. Talk to us like, this is what you're in for, son. Get ready, because we don't know.
It's well, I think it depends. I think in your case it's a little bit different to ours in the sense that we have bought an existing one. It's an older property, so it is. I don't want to say it's a bane of my life, but there's a lot of problems with that property on quite a regular basis. You know, you not only do you pay for obviously all of the utilities, you pay for cleaning, gardening, internet, all of the, you know, obviously furnishings, it just all of these things that you don't typically have to think about for a standard resi. So there's a lot of work that goes behind it. And given the location type of house it is, our insurance is also quite limited as well. So there's potentially the ugly side of it. And what's next for it? We don't know just yet. We are playing around with some ideas because it is a good block of land and it's close to, you know, Brisbane City. So we're playing around some ideas about what to do next. We used to think
Interesting.
about subdivision, but I think from a feasibility perspective, it probably doesn't make any sense anymore from building. So we're trying to decide what to do with that property.
Yeah, and the great thing is like, yes, it's admin BS, but I imagine that's cash flow positive, right? Like that's giving you income every single day. So it's like, while you're thinking about all these things and going to make these changes, like, well, it's sorting itself out. It's all right. It's not a burden on the portfolio.
Yeah. Sometimes
Just to my inbox.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you considered converting it back to a regular rental? Like, or is that just kind of, is that?
No, not yet. I think
Yeah.
not yet. I think it's right now from, like Joe mentioned, from a yield perspective, it is good.
Okay. What are
and then the vacancies, actually, that's what I'm interested in, because I'm saying 1,750 a week times by 5. Is it realistically, like, after all the vacancies, like, times by 4, or how do you think about vacancies and new tenants?
Yeah, so I think for us it's been pretty good because it's quite close to university, so it obviously attracts a lot of university students, which I don't know how it would work for your rooming house in Townsville.
Yeah, we're 10 minutes away from a uni, 3 minutes away from a shops. Yeah, okay, cool. So it's good. That's great. And then it kind of comes to, sorry, Jeff, where are we going?
No, so I just want to, because it's great we did that. Where did you go after that? Because, you decided to go that path. And what did you then do next? Because we're probably a few properties short of $8.5 million, maybe. I don't know what. Yeah.
That's very true. Yes. So at that point, we thought we're going to be tapped out from a serviceability perspective. So we thought, what do we do? This is where commercial came in, but we also had a approval for a residential as well. So we basically settled on a commercial property and a residential property within 2-3 weeks of each other.
Oh, so was that you used the extra, because we probably need to talk about structures as well. I don't know whether structures are like, are you kind of are you looking down, do you have your investment savvy accountant kind of guiding you along the way, or are you literally just saying, okay, cool, we're just going to buy it in what we know, we're not going to touch the trust situation? How do you think about that?
So at the start, we definitely did not have a property savvy accountant. So it's more of, do we invest? This is, I guess, to give you a understanding of how basic my knowledge was at the time. Do we invest in our personal name or a company? I didn't really understand trust structures at all. But so at the start, it was very much around personal name. And in fact, if I look at our portfolio across the board, there's a lot of personal names in there, which may explain the situation that we're in now, which is, we're a bit stuck.
It's not a bad, like you keep saying this is like a bad thing, Cheena. Like there's so many levers you could pull with that portfolio that I don't think you're actually stuck. It's kind of, well, do you need to go more? Is kind of the question you're probably asking yourself. And we'll talk to that in the back end because some people, 8.5 million, some people want to buy 10,000 properties. And literally that was somebody in the news the other day. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And that's cool if that's your vibe. If you want to try and go to that, then good for you. Hopefully they don't watch that show. But anyway.
Well, yeah, but I think you just mentioned something. I have an investment savvy accountant. But did you actually have these conversations? Were you engaging these conversations with the accountant? And at what point did you do that? Was it like 3 or 4 purchases in when you're like, oh, I'm hearing about this whole accountant thing, I'm going to go hard on that? Or I've got an account, like, because I had a Cheena block accountant for ages, and he was really nice. He's a super friendly dude. Didn't, always do his tie up very nice, but smelled a bit. But he was good, friendly dude. But I didn't know anything about property investing. But sorry, going on. So, he's a nice guy.
I think was right around the commercial property and the little resi one that we talked about. That's when we actually had have a great accountant on board now to really guide us through the process.
I think I know who the accountant might be too, but
yeah, but I mean, okay, so that flagged it with you. Like, we're trying to buy a resi and a commercial. What are we doing, and how do we do it in a structured way?
Absolutely.
Okay. So how did you come into this though? How did you, because no one does this. I mean, not no one, obviously, but no one does a renovation for their first kind of investment and then follow it up with a rooming house, which is awesome. And then you're like, we need to buy another property. Oh, no, we need to buy 2 other properties, but one's going to be resi and then one's going to be commercial. Like how did that happen?
I think we didn't even realize it was a strange thing to do. We just thought it was the norm. We didn't know any better, really. And I think this just made sense from a goal perspective, because we knew that commercial is something that we need to, because we purchased that in a trust structure, and we knew that is, because of the net yield, it was going to be trading positive from pretty much day zero. From a resi perspective, we're more comfortable in that space. So with this one, we saw it was a corner block, and we knew that there was potential in the future to, let's just say want to subdivide, then the option is there. So it was just, it was a space that we were comfortable in. So once again, we did something that we were a little bit uncomfortable with, coupled with something that we are comfortable with.
Not too much work all at one time. So the commercial space, I guess that's when it's starting to get a little bit interesting. How did that look? Did you read books and podcasts, or did you have help? Did someone help you buy this? Like, what did that look like?
Yeah, so the show sponsor helped us to buy that investment. So of course Steve Polisi, who is obviously great. We did quite a bit of homework around, who we want to.
Yeah. Every time someone says that, we charge him more. So this is good. So just say Steve Polisi. It's like Beetlejuice. We say it one more time, he's going to appear in the comments. Okay, that's good. Well, because this is the thing though. Like, commercial is one of those big spaces where, like, it's gone from rooming house. I mean, rooming house is a massive space as well, but it makes sense, right? Or the way I, because I really struggle with rooming houses, like from a mental thing, like it's way too complex. The way I think about it now, I'm like, it's just a block of units. Like, I own blocks of units. It's never been
complicated, Joe. I mean, it's just, does it make sense or not?
There's 5 different rooms, but it makes but the numbers are so good. Where's the like I just said, like our one's going to make like 400 grand. How is it going to make, how can I build something for 600 and then it'd be worth 1.1? What?
The biggest challenge is the financing piece. If you can either work out the financing piece. Yeah. But like, let's say somebody's earning 100, like, because a lot of lenders were only funded at 60, maybe 70% if you're lucky these days. So it's effectively a commercial asset. That's the challenge. That's the gotcha. So if you can actually fund that, then potentially, we'll have to throw the response. But I want to hear, like, I've been sort of marinated on this question. So $1.5 million borrowing capacity, and I'm going to say there's so many variables, Zaki, on here. How many properties and what price ranges to shoot for?
It's Zaki Miraz. Hello, mate.
Zaki.
No, sorry, Mirza. Sorry, mate. Bloody miss your name up all the time. Good to see you.
1.5. What are you thinking on that? I thought he was asking for locations as well, but I don't know. He didn't ask for locations, but I was going to volunteer. What are you thinking, Cheena?
This is such a tricky question, and I really hate to say this, but it really depends on your strategy, right? It's such a wide question, because for the longest time, for us, because we needed the yield to keep on going, we couldn't invest in somewhere that's super low yield and high growth. We just couldn't. So I think that question is tough to answer, because it depends on your goals, like where you are in your journey, what do you want to do with it. I'm
probably going to say 2 properties, 600K. Simple. I'm not saying
that goes to 1.2.
What locations, Jeff?
No, because the reason I'm keeping that 300K is because then you say, okay, how am I not trapping myself? Because if you're spending that whole serviceability little thing, because that's the thing, some people just say 750 each, and that's not adding to 1.5. Sorry, that is 750 each. And for me, 600K, you can, depending on, look, if you needed to sort of spread things out, the yield a bit higher, you could probably do 3 at 400, which adds to 1.2. I like to leave a little bit in the tank potentially. Now, I'm not saying that's right or wrong. That's just the way I think about it. And then you can sort of, at that stage, you can meet most of the market. Whereas if, yeah, sure, buying a 700, that sounds great. But how much deposit are you putting into these properties as well, Zachy? So we don't know the variables. So that's the way I think about it. Because these days you can get 90% with no LMI, even if you're not a doctor, lawyer, all that sort of stuff. So there's options out there. But Joe, what do you think about that anyway?
Yeah, good. Do it. Make it happen, mate. Get it done. Good man.
Okay.
All
right.
Yeah.
There's more property. So commercial and a resi. Like, I want to know more about this resi because the commercial.
Before we do that, we got to run for a sponsor. But I want to dive deep into the commercial one that you're talking about, because this is getting interesting. You want the res?
Yeah, I want to know where. I mean, commercial label.
Oh, Jeff, I wish there was 3 investing books that covered everything property.
Oh, Joe, there is. Steve has 3 books now.
That I do, guys. I've got 3 books now. You probably don't even have to follow this group anymore. Just kidding. You want to keep seeing and hearing from me, of course, so stay involved. But in all seriousness, if you want to get the full picture of investing, residential, commercial, and development, these 3 books have you covered for the fundamentals. For OzProp members, here's the best part. I'm giving these books to you for free. Just cover the postage and I'll send them right to your door. Go to policeyproperty.com or click the link below and get your copies today. You can also get all my spreadsheets, checklists, and resources free on my website. Happy reading, gang.
Somebody, Bronson said Beetlejuice, poof, appears Steve. So it happened. Paul Zaki, sorry, he retracted his comment. But no, okay, Joe wants to know about the commercial. I want to know about the resi because I like to know where people's kind of composition of portfolio. Are we, give us that and then Joe can ask about, he can scratch
in terms of location for the resi, where did they?
Just the way people are thinking. Like, did you go another one in Queensland, or did you kind of go over to?
Yeah, because this. Yeah, what year was this actually? Because that's like, this kind of feels like a good, like a WWA South Australia, like good time to be jumping in, but also Queensland, you're going to crush it there as well during this period. What was it, like 2023 or 2 or?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
the very start of 2023.
Yeah, no, go on.
What state did it look like for this the one with the value add subdivision potential?
Queensland. So it was in Bundaberg. It is in Bundaberg.
Bundy.
I shouldn't say Queensland. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, good stuff. And the yield would have been at like 5.8 to 6.5%. Silly. Oh, but with the big land, be quite big.
Yeah,
9%.
9
was it? 9%.
9%.
Yep. That's right. Yeah, we purchased well, and the property is well maintained, and it's a good yielding property.
Yeah, shit. What would the yield be now? Like, if you were to buy the same thing, would it be more realistically like a 5.5 or a 5?
Maybe 4 or 5. I haven't actually calculated this lately, but
you don't, do you?
certainly not as.
I definitely I love doing numbers. Yeah, there's something I'm budgets, I'm property. I love my spreadsheets. But anyway, that's me. So great.
So we do love spreadsheets. So my husband is the so when I was talking about divide and conquering before, he's definitely taking the lead in some of the analytics. He'd like to call himself the head of research of the household, and then I like to remind him that I'm the head of research. So that's how we work in this house. But I'm sure he will know the numbers if I run down to ask him.
Well, it's funny. That's such a good dynamic, and I want to talk through the portfolio, and I do want to talk about couples buying property because I think it's. I mean, we've seen some absolute power couples that just crush so hard because they are swimming in the same direction. But okay, so the commercial. How many purchases have we got after this commercial one? One, or is this the last one? Is there one more?
We have another 4 after that.
Jesus Christ.
That's what I said.
We
yeah.
went
Yeah, go on.
we went pretty hard. I think so the commercial it's a warehouse, like Beetlejuice helped us to purchase that property. Steve is amazing. His team did a great job, and just a genuine guy, because there's so many BAs out there, and it's when you get like a genuine one, especially one where you feel you're not just a number. I think that's pretty important. Not sponsored again.
We'll charge him, don't worry. Okay, shit. So we got 4 more purchases after that. You bought an amazing commercial property, just a warehouse, does its thing. Then what? Then you had the bug, and then also by that time you had the equity, and then you would have had some pretty good cash flow at the same time. So this is like your acceleration years of like, cool, we good.
Can we take
absolutely,
because it all sounds too easy. So I imagine by this stage you're starting to go to the non-majors, and rates are maybe not crazy, and I suppose it's 2023 2024 when you started to go on this
0% rates.
Well, no,
I think
they're pretty much, they were at 5% by that stage, Joe. 5 and 5.5. They pretty much
so we definitely did not have any super low interest rates anymore, unfortunately. I wish I had the hindsight to lock everything down for 5 years at 2%, but so be it. I think Joe hit the nail on the head. So we basically had a big chunk of equity. We basically used debt cycling and got a big chunk of money out. I know it sounds easy, but it requires a lot of thinking power, a lot of staring at our spreadsheets, and a lot of chats to see how we can keep on going. So we were able to basically use that money to put down some deposits, so not a lot of money down, and just went super hard, because we knew that we knew that serviceability was going to be an issue, because we were potentially considering family, whether which meant that our options would be limited. We did think we were going to plan a family at that stage. So we just went as hard as we could, with whatever we could. So in there we also set up our SMSF, because we knew that we wanted to keep on going, and we just had to pull whatever lever we could. I think also in there, pretty much to your dismay, there's definitely some principal interest loans in there as well.
I don't mind principal. I don't mind.
We have a bit of everything.
Yeah. No, because it's interesting. If you want to keep going, sometimes you have to say, well, look, I got to flick it across. And if it's going to help you because sometimes if you just interest only all the way, yes, the accountant doesn't love it to go to principal and interest. But if it just helps out it increases your payments, but that also actually means that the lender says, well, hey, maybe I can look at Cheena and Alan and say, let's buy some more property potentially. We went hard. We purchased 4 after that, and so that's where we are today.
For what? For like resi,
for
commercial?
residentials.
Oh, okay. So you went back. So you got the taste of commercial cash flow, and then why not just say, heck, let's just go, just go commercial now, Once the genie's out the bottle, it seems that a lot of people do just commercial after that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for us, it was just a space that we're more familiar with. We're certainly not going to say no to commercial. I think we would love to add more commercial to our portfolio, because just that net profit is just a lot more attractive. And I think it's having a tenant to look after all your bits and pieces is just wonderful.
Yeah. So those 4 acquisitions, were they like regional Queensland? Were they WA, or what's the go with it? Any lessons from them as well? Like you've kind of hit your stride now and you're kind of crushing it. So I don't know.
Yeah. I think with those, we were at a pretty good our comfort level from our knowledge perspective we were pretty comfortable, so we're able to move quite quickly, which, you know, obviously learning from previous experiences, because we have basically developed, you know, our own checklists and just to help us to streamline the process to make sure we don't forget anything. So we're able to do those things quite quickly, and we just pulled the trigger. And I think your guest from last week was talking about how important taking action is. You know, for us, it was very much, okay, this is all we know. We have the brain power. Let's go. Let's just get it done as quickly as we can.
Yeah, I mean, and it's
no
it is
WA.
hard. Oh, you're in WA. You went
No
over
WA.
to
No, we didn't go to WA. I think I couldn't bring myself to do it, and unfortunately, it has done extremely well, just because Alan, my husband, was basically talking about WA for the entire time. Every single property,
no.
I think his wish list has doubled.
Yep.
But you know what I said before, if one person says no, then we don't move ahead. So there's definitely pros and cons to the process, of course.
I'm sure, I hope he's humble about it, but anyway.
He says he doesn't remind me too often, but every now and then, I remember that time when I said.
Yeah. No. I mean, look, and what that goes to show is whether you miss South Australia, whether you miss WA in mostly Perth, whether you missed far north Queensland, and some people say you still haven't missed it. I think there's maybe a little bit of growth there, but yeah, it's done a lot of things recently, and people are like, oh, now I've missed Melbourne, maybe, and I'm like, well, geez, are we sure we missed Melbourne, like, or regional sort of parts of Victoria?
Victoria, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't.
Well,
we've
got Terry Ryder on next week. He's talking all about the 3 best hotspots for 2026. And he's got some pretty spicy takes. So
that's the title. Awesome, mate. Anyway,
there's something like that. Jeff loves the title.
No, but yeah, that's yeah. Like I suppose the point is there, and to your, like, whether you still have done amazingly. So you picked up another couple in.
Yeah, well, actually, that's the crazy thing about property, isn't it? Like, you can go and not get the top 10 best. You can buy like in the best like 20th property market and still absolutely crush it. So it's not like, you know, shares where you need to choose NVIDIA. It's like, no, you can get the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th. Obviously, that's why we have the Level Up course to teach people how to get to that 10 list. But
whenever he starts speaking about CS Joe, I just think, oh, geez, what's he? It's a hot take from Joe.
But that's the crazy. Yeah, not about shares. It's not about shares, but it's like your market, your property is very forgiving and it looks after itself. So where I see the consistency for people in these like conversations that we have with investors is they take action. And that was a massive point that we got from last week. So I don't want to drill home on it much more, but it's action, but also like, it doesn't have to be 100% perfect action. Imperfect action in property is
it's perfect in action.
Yeah, whatever that saying is, you can really do well. So if you're sitting on the fence, you've got everything that you need lined up, like just give it a crack. Give it a crack. Just don't put all the. Oh, but again, you got to say, like, don't put all your eggs in one basket. But when you're starting out and you've only got $100,000 or $120,000, you kind of have no choice but to go all in. So, but hopefully it's forgiving and just get a good team around you. I don't know. What's your advice there, Cheena? Someone that's got everything that they need to take the action, but they're just not taking it.
Don't know where to start. And people will say, get educated, but people are like, what does that mean? Where do you go? I think if I was to start again, I think the team part is absolutely critical. And I think I mentioned this before around, you know, there's so much free resources out there now, and paid, of course, the Level Up course. People really have no excuses, right? And if you see people who seem knowledgeable, who have done it, then have a conversation. Hey, let me buy you a coffee. Can I ask you a bunch of questions about how to start, really? I think, but make sure that person actually have done what you want to achieve, because I think there's a lot of people out there who have an opinion. Like I said, Australians love property, and everybody think they know everything there is about property, but so many people only have one, or one investment. It's to me, it's mad that you are taking property investment advice from your Uncle John, who has bought his own house in 1970, and now it's worth $2 million. But that was just really time and market without any actual proper investment thinking.
Yeah. And yeah, I think to that as well, once you do take the action, assess what you did well and what you could improve upon, because there's 100% going to be something you have missed, and hopefully it's not like a flood zone. Please make sure you try and avoid, like I know Kush he's made oodles, he's made hundreds of thousands of dollars, like millions of dollars from buying flood zones. He's become the specialist in that. He's the specialist in understanding, well, what does he need to buy it at to make money? So if you're just buying the average run-of-the-mill in a flood zone, you probably are going to get burnt, or you might get flooded, one or the other. You might not get too much burning, you might get flooding. But but no, like reassess, because there's going to be mistakes you made. Like my first one, I bought with a Sydney mindset up in Zilmere, and that Zilmere, like I bought with that, and I thought, Queensland, Brisbaneites catch trains. They don't really. They still don't really catch the trains, I don't think. So they don't care about public transport. So that was a learning for me, and it still did okay. And it's still doing okay, but just you're going to miss something, and that's okay. Just be okay. I suppose kind to yourself as well.
Yeah,
I'm keen to.
The big part is around.
Yeah, go on.
I was going to mention around opportunity cost as well. I think that's just a don't be so precious around. Because I think when I first started, certainly it was very much about buy and hold. But now I think, hold on a second, what does this mean? That money might be sitting there, but what is this actually really costing me? It's just like that with anything, right? You could spend 5 hours cleaning your house, or you could use that time to actually spend with your family, or whatever it may be. So think about the opportunities cost, which is actually a lot more valuable than anything else.
What can that money be doing elsewhere? Yeah, 100%. Okay, well, I'm keen to get some questions up here. This has been a super insightful conversation. I love your lessons that you've learned along the way. I'm going to run to our next sponsor, and then, everyone jump your questions in for Cheena, and then we will run through them.
Let's go.
Everywhere you look, someone else is making money in property except for you. Your mate, he just bought a house. It's already gone up $100,000. There's some bloke on Facebook, he's bragging about pulling in a 7% rental yield. Meanwhile, you're stuck scrolling real estate and domain, confused as hell, and having no idea about where to start. Or maybe you're that mate that's got $100,000 in equity. You have a few properties under your belt, but you feel stuck. You're unsure about how to scale without over-leveraging and not knowing what the next right move is. So why does it feel like everyone else has some kind of secret that you're missing out on? It's because they do. There's a reason some people keep stacking properties while others sit on the sidelines stacking excuses. There's a reason why some investors buy under market value while others pay too much. There's a reason why investors know the hot spots before there's any heat. And there's a reason that some people build $150,000 in passive income while others just spend years thinking about it. And it comes down to knowledge. And that's exactly why Jeff Miles and I, Joe Tucker, created the Level Up Property course to hand you the exact step-by-step process that we've used to buy over $100 million worth of property in today's market. We've built Australia's largest property investment community with over 80,000 members, and we help everyday investors secure hundreds of thousands of dollars in equity, all without wasting years of their life trying to figure it out the hard way. Making an uneducated decision on the biggest purchase in your life is just gambling with your future.
Stop it. Get some help.
And this isn't just another how to buy property course. Let's be clear though, this course isn't free. What? And neither should it be. This is our life's work. We've spent over 100 hours each on this course alone. Oh, babe. Okay, video number 3. Number 4 with million does... Fuck. Done. We've got decades of experience, millions of dollars in deals distilled into a repeatable process that you can take away for yourself. If you're looking for free advice, there's plenty of noise out there. You can go and find that if you'd like. But if you want real, actionable, step-by-step guided process that works in today's market, then this investment is going to change everything for you. By the time that you finish this course, you will have full confidence. You'll have every tool that you need to build an amazing portfolio if you act on it, right? Which is why we have mentoring built in. So we kick you up the butt to make sure that you're kicking your goals. So the real question is, how much longer are you going to watch everyone else making money in property before you jump in and start playing the property game properly? Because the sooner you start winning.
We are back. Start winning. Who doesn't love? I want to start winning in 2026 and all the time, really. But Jenna, tell us about where you so how you think about your property strategy and where you're going to go, your roadmap when you first started versus now. What's the metamorphosis that's taken place in your insights or views?
I think it's pretty more the mindset change, because at the start you don't really know. I'm like, okay, buy and hold, it will grow and everything else. But now I really think about, what is the opportunity cost? Right now, we're basically faced with some quite big decisions about portfolio changes, whether to sell down, to do some big changes. So that's something that we're playing around with, but really just thinking ahead. Ella and myself, we do yearly goal setting. So, because, your life situation changed. We now have a 1-year-old that obviously impacts on our income, our time, and everything else. So what does that mean from a goal perspective? Because our income will be different. So our goals and our property goals do change from year to year.
Congratulations, by the way. Like becoming
Thank
a
you very
parent
much.
is challenging, or also very rewarding. But yeah, go on, sorry, Joe.
Yeah, no, it's a great point that I don't see a lot of people factoring in. Like, I see a lot of people like building out these static plans in their mind and I do it as well. Like I have in my wallet, buy 10 properties, sell down 5, keep the rent, live off those 5. And that obviously hasn't happened. It's been a little bit different because goals change, life change. You have kids and it becomes a completely different kettle of different kettle of fish. I wanted to jump to this whole partner thing, because you guys have absolutely crushed it. And how do we get a partner on board that might not actually be, because I don't want to say that if you don't have a partner that's on board with you, then you're not going to succeed in property, because I see it all the time. Thousands of people build great portfolios and work around it. But how can we, because I also think those people that there might not be great communication. So what are some of the things that we can learn from you on partnering up and partners?
Yeah, I think it is really, really important to understand that money mindset early on. I think when Ella and I got together, we were very open about money situation very early during the relationship, which actually really worked to our advantage, because it's not just about how much savings that you have. For example, I with my background and my family background, I have quite a scarcity mindset, whereas Alan come from an environment where he's definitely more of a spender than I am, and that comes from, literally multi-generational, not trauma, but, multi-generational
programming
thinking.
kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's really, really important to understand where they come from, so you can actually either make adjustments in your thinking, or just how you can actually understand why they think that they do, so you can actually get more aligned. Because I agree that you can certainly build a successful portfolio by yourself, but it is just that much easier when you are both swimming in the same direction.
Yeah. So I see a massive shift in power couples, I call them at least. It makes a killer difference. So what are some of the things that you guys do? Like that whole goal setting annually is a bit weird. What other weird things do you in the nicest possible
It's amazing
way?
though. What is this weird stuff? Like it's weird that you don't do it. I think
It's weird in the essence of, but not a lot of people do it. You know, like what are the things that you guys are doing to kind of keep this thing alive and keep this thing bubbling? And I guess,
it's so strange because once again, we don't realize it's people don't do this because we do. So of course it's just the norm. So I think for us, we obviously have yearly goals and 5 and 10-year goals and 20-year goals, but you know, you don't know what life is going to be in 5 years. So I think the 12 months is typically the most accurate, and we try to have quarterly check-ins to make sure, hey, these are your goals. How are we tracking? What can we do to make changes? So those are the things that we can do to keep each other accountable and just have some open, honest communication, because nobody's a mind reader. If you don't, say out loud what the problems may be, how are you supposed to get aligned? And I think for us, we've been quite, I feel very lucky to have a partner that have very common interests as I do. Of course, not everybody is as lucky as I am with this sort of thinking.
There's only one Alan out there, and you've snagged him. Snagged him good.
I snagged him.
Good old
Sorry,
Alan.
Queen Mary.
Have I got some stories about another Ellen friend of mine?
Yeah.
It's you have
awesome.
to have that communication, right? Because if you don't communicate, you will never get aligned, and especially around that mindset, because that is going to dictate how you do so many things, including investing.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things for me that I have found is somewhat valuable is because I'm very much just, this is the thing that we're going to go for. We're going to go for this thing. We're just going to head out, go. But, your partner might not feel that way. My partner definitely doesn't feel, my partner is not we've been successful and it's been great. She's been a great support, but she's not like go, property. Ugh, I say that, but she's good. So I'm trying to just paint a picture of someone that's not, but so yeah, she is great.
How do you want to dig, Joe?
I'm like, how loud am I? How loud? How many people does this podcast go to? But anyway, I guess the point is factor in other things that aren't property related, like, we're going to go on that cruise, well, how much is that? I don't want to go on a cruise, but how much is that cruise? It's $5,000. Okay, well, if we get this property and it grows in $100,000 worth of equity, we can pull that equity out and we can use $5,000 of that equity to go on a cruise. How about we make some equity together? Huh.
So
I like that idea.
I certainly hope you don't present it like that, mate. That's I don't think that would go down too well.
Clearly, I don't.
You're like, are you talking to me like I'm a bloody 5-year-old? Geez, just
no, but I mean, like you build into the plan some more fun activities that everyone's going to be on board with. Like, well, actually, we could do some really cool stuff if we were successful in the property game. I don't know. I think everyone understands what I'm trying to say. I'm just not very good at saying it.
Effectively, work out what matters to that person and communicate in that language. It's all about comes down to the communication. So you've found the way that communicates to you. And for some people, it's regular check-ins, as in, okay, well, where are we heading? What do the numbers look like? It's that kind of security, like that we're not going and betting the house kind of thing, and that's important to that person. Other people, it's like, well, what can we sort of do as a part of the journey? What are the experiences we're potentially going to have, and let's share that together. I think that'd be amazing. So it's kind of what works for different people is going to work for different people. Joe
Dr. Phil. That's one of the comments there. Joe Dr. Phil Tucker. I'll take it.
So Cheena, I think it was amazing we brought that up. The thing I love is that you have I'm just going to chuck out some things. You've got what was the page? I did look this up. Yeah, I'm going to just do it now so I get it correct. She can finance, financial independent. I think that's I'm going to keep looking at that because I just want to understand the type of things you're talking about. So I think that's, definitely check that out, people. But I want to ask this question: what the ideal structure, ownership, lending, LVR, the details? Bronson wants the details. I know he works in lending as well, so that's probably why.
This
talk
is a
to some
trick
of-
question if he's working in lending.
No, he's curious. He's genuinely curious for sure.
I think it depends on the situation. So for us, we have a mixture of personal name and trusts as well. Of course, SMSF throwing in there. I think there's certainly some disagreements probably between Alan and myself around, where we are. We have done really well, given how much things we have a personal name. But obviously, if we had trust structures, that would have potentially allowed us to keep on going a bit even further than what we have. But having said that, there are obviously benefits that is associated with having things in your personal name, like negative gearing and also land tax and more friendly products from lenders as well. So I think I'm pretty happy with what we have now, even though a majority of it is in personal name. But I think going forward, as we potentially sell, no, let me rephrase, as we do sell down and add to the portfolio, it would be in a lot more in the trust structure. And of course, we'd be guided by a broker as well for, an accountant of, what is the best way to position each of these in our portfolios.
Yeah, well said, well answered. And Steve, he's hanging around like a fly on an ice cream on a summer's day. So I love it when Steve he's engaged. He said, "What was your biggest light bulb moment in property?" That's a big question.
It's a big question. What is yours, Jeff? Have you got? I want to hear the Jeff light bulb moment.
So for me, it was literally that you had the opportunity to keep buying, like figuring out the ways to buy that property. Like I know it's super cliche to say that, but it's like you just like growing up in a household that didn't talk about money and didn't understand and just bought and sold the property. It's like you actually don't need to sell those properties. You can sort of keep leveraging. Like even the first broker I spoke to is like, oh, we'll get this one and we might get another one and we'll have to probably sell one to go and get more. So it's just that. Yeah, it's just even that sort of that actually just taking action as well. Biggest light bulb is the sky's not going to fall in when it happens, because bought my first property and the tenant moved out in about 2 weeks because he just said he couldn't live there. And I was like, oh crap, this is this is really challenging for me. But yeah, we worked through it.
Not
We got
bad.
a new tenant.
Yeah,
it was okay. But yeah, what about you, Cheena? Where'd you go? What was your biggest light bulb?
Ooh, I think for me, it was probably when we did the big debt cycling and we just bought a whole bunch in one go. I mean, I always understood the power of leverage and, I would never be able to save, over $8 million, for example. I mean, that's just crazy. But to be able to achieve that, to actually see those numbers in a bank account, it was like a moment. What do you call that? I don't know. Holy grail moment. Yeah, it was quite incredible. Aha moment. Yes.
Yeah.
Bronson even wants to know the LVR. Jeez, what's the idea? I mean, I don't even know. Like, what are you comfortable?
Is there an
sharing?
ideal?
Yeah, I mean, it chops and changes so much anyway. So if you don't want to,
yeah,
but also that's the thing. When you get equity as well, when you pull equity out, like your LVR increases. So it's like, oh, I've got like what I was talking about our rooming house. We've got $250,000 worth of equity taken out, and our LVR looks spectacular right now. I think it's at 70 or 65% or something, but that's going to boost it back up to the whatever. So there's
the money's come from somewhere, Joe. So it's unless you're tipping in cash, you're effectively borrowing 100% every time you're doing it to some extent, which is then just that's where hopefully then you see the growth that then pays down the debt and the LVR decreases again. That's kind of the. So
what's your answer to that, Jeff, regarding LVR? Is there an ideal, actually from a broking perspective, is there, I mean, obviously the more the lower the better, or
the B word, broke, not broke. Yeah. No. So for me, it comes down to, like people want to get to that 80% and that's fine if you want to do the 80% to avoid LMI. There's some products out there. It comes down to, how much deposit do you have available versus how much serviceability, how quickly do you want to go? Those are the crux of the conversation. If you're like, okay, we'll buy one now, I'll buy another one in 5 years. Okay, cool. We can strip that, go to 80%, or you can go, Whereas if you're like, okay, I want to buy 3 in the next 24 months, the answer is unless you've got significant either good income, or you've got good cash deposits, then I think you probably need to consider going to 80 if you want to go quickly. Because you imagine buying $600,000, that's $150,000+ every time to go to 20%. So if you can, and that's where people kind of, whereas if you go to 88% pay some LMI, you're probably in for about $100,000-ish, give or take. So there's probably, so it really comes down to how quickly you want to go. But if you're kind of just happy to do it over 20 years, 20% is fine, 80% LVR.
Yeah, well, we share all the numbers on the portfolio. I just did some basic, like adding $250,000 of debt to our portfolio. We're at 71% LVR right now, loan to value ratio. The portfolio is worth 3.75, and we've made equity increase of 952,000, and we'll be going up to 84% if we, 81%. Sorry, we're at 74. And we'll go to 81% LVR when we pull this 250 grand out. But then actually the increase of the value of the portfolio will then increase even more, and the LVR will drop to probably in the 60s. The partner side of things, are there any other things to note on that? Because I think that was an area where you, any other key points to take or takeaways from there that are going to be valuable for the folks? And any other final questions, guys, pop them in the comment little section there.
I think it's really about dividing and conquering, because there's no point for you to be both amazing at something. So, for example, I'm more organized than Alan. So I usually delegate the tasks of, what needs to be done by when, and what each of us obviously are responsible for. So play to your strength, and, hopefully that will help some of the conversations too. To your point before, Joe, around, how can you make property more fun so you can bring them on the journey? Exactly. What is important to them? Maybe they really like painting walls. Maybe you can buy a reno project and make them do the painting.
That's true. That's true.
Fun.
That's,
couples who paint together stay together. Is that the new couples who gym together stay together? Rebecca, I love your contribution as well. She said, that's flipping so cool, guys. I love she just said flipping in there as well. She's like subconsciously channeling her inner property term. You're doing amazing. Look, I think, Rebecca, rather than hopefully, I know you said that without kind of thinking maybe, but think about I think that you can be there in 5 or 10 years time, or even sooner, Rebecca.
Well, what was 2019? That was 7 years ago, right? Like, it's amazing. You're going to ask, my biggest light bulb moment is just what you can achieve in 5 years, what you can achieve in 10 years to fundamentally change your life is unbelievable. That's the biggest light bulb.
I love Sam's question. Let's do that. She said, he said, what's the closest you've flown to the sun on your journey? So I can take this a couple of different ways, because you could say, well, how close, what the buffer's going to look like and how close you got there, or I don't know, like making a mistake. I don't know. There's a couple of different ways you could interpret that question.
Such a great question.
2 ways. The first one is where I got so close to the sun, I was nearly very burnt. It was probably my very first purchase, the one in Melbourne, the townhouse. The broker that I was working with didn't do his job properly. Hopefully he's not a member on your Facebook.
Sounds like he's probably not getting educated enough, so he's probably not.
Yeah, well, he didn't do his job properly, and I ended up basically had nearly $0 for after everything. So it was getting to the point where I was going to have to ask a friend to borrow some money for the last, to pay the legal costs. So that was probably quite uncomfortable. And I think the part that, if I can take it in a positive spin, the part where, I'm having my moment in the sun is around, just before the podcast, we checked the portfolio's worth. It's actually worth 8.7 today. And it's incredible, right? And we will never be able to do this with our previous, with my poor corporate jobs. It's only through property investing that has allowed us to do that. I get the fact that this is obviously values on paper, but even having that on paper is incredible.
Immense. Yes, absolutely immense. I think that's a great place to end this conversation. You have done so well, Cheena, and I love your energy and enthusiasm for property, and you keep running it and just keep crushing it in life. How can people learn more about you? How can we get more Cheena in our existence?
Well, so I do have yes, I have a book. I do have a social channel that that I just love talking about financial literacy, obviously with property investing is a big component because I do love property so much. So follow me on Instagram, She Can Finance. And of course, as Joe mentioned at the start, I am now part of this team. So hopefully I can work with some potential clients and I can, share even more of my tips and tricks that I learned along the way.
Yeah, I'm just getting the book up now because I copied the link and it was a referral link. No, that's because I think the secret thing. So I don't know how we're funding this, but I'll pay for them myself if we need to. Just if you send me the first 5 people to DM me after watching this, and I might even be a bit generous if you listen to it in 2 years' time, I'll send you this book because I think it's vital to because I mean to me I don't even know how much it is, but that's fine. I'll chuck it on the
normal book price.
Well, yeah, but I should look at things before I make these commitments. But no, we'll chuck it on the business card, and away we go. Let's do that because I think I'm going to get it as well because I don't read. It'd be great to get that knowledge out there. And if people want to chat to you in Joe's capacity, here we go. Check it out. Check out Joe and Cheena, and book a free discovery call at the below. There we go.
Yeah, and then I think there's an opportunity just make something happen, guys. This has been an awesome session of you just taking action, and some of it was imperfect action, but it didn't sink you forever. Like it might be all it's going to mean is a little bit more waiting if you really tremendously mess something up. It's a long time of waiting, but it sounds like you're also thinking about the answers because you're going from you're reassessing. I was speaking to another person who went hard with house and land packages and off the plan apartments, and they kept them for 12 years and it's still going. It's been 12 years. And I'm like, why didn't you, at one point you would have seen that it wasn't performing. And it's like, yeah, I just thought I'd keep in it. It's like, no, you weren't thinking. You just rode the wave and chilled out. I love that you're constantly reassessing and looking at everything day by day. So much value in this session. So I'm
already got one person in the DMs getting the book. So if you want this book, please, there's 4 copies left that I'll buy for somebody to work it out. Somebody said, what an amazing journey. We'll have to check out the book. So thanks, good. Elijah, mate. If you're lucky, you can be one of the 6 that because Elijah love his work as well. Thanks for give us a 5-star on Spotify as well, team. Drop us that because that helps us to get people like Cheena on, Terry Ryder next week. We've got some amazing guests lined up and amazing stories. So keep sharing that. If you've got somebody, we'll have the pre-chat and go from there. So I'm excited to thanks, Cheena, for coming on and appreciate all that you've done and absolute inspiration. It's amazing to hear what you've done. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Let's go buy a property. See you later. Have a good one.
Goodbye.